Hi there, my name is Dave Galegas. I'm the guy that started the OTUBNS team for Hallmark back before we even called it OTUBNS or before there ever was a Hallmark. And what I want to talk a little bit about today is where we came up with our mortgage trauma center. Now, this is something that we've had here actively in our market going back to mid-2000s, like 2006 or 7 is when we really started marketing this. And the reason that it came about is I had a call from a realtor one day and a client that he had under contract. This was a Monday. I remember this vividly. It was a Monday. She was closing Wednesday. And this lender that she'd been working with just dropped the ball apparently, and he stopped calling her back altogether. They couldn't get the lender to call back. It was an out-of-state call center lender. I remember that. They were in California, I think. Anyway, this realtor asked me if I could help her out, and I talked to her on the phone. It sounded like it was possible to help her out. She came in that afternoon. She brought me all of her documentation, and back then we didn't have all these compliance rules that are in place today that require by law you have to wait 8 days, and it's not a bad law. People shouldn't be in that position to begin with. But back in 2006, we didn't have that. I met with her on a Monday. At that time, our systems were already really tight. We met with the client, collected all the information we needed, had her sign an application, turned it into underwriting that night. We had it underwritten first thing the next morning, and it was fully approved, and you could draw the docs and close a loan, which we did Wednesday afternoon. 48 hours from the time I met the client until the time. And I just remember when it was all said and done, it was really cool. We were all celebrating that we got it done, but the reason we call it the trauma center was because of how traumatic it was for the client. Now, let me explain. Typically, you go under contract to buy a house, 30 days later, you're going to close-ish, right? You're going down the road of moving. You pay somebody to do an appraisal. You got to write that check. You pay for a home inspector, and you typically go to the inspection, and you start the ball rolling. You're going to move. If you're renting, you're letting your landlord know you're moving out. He's trying to get the place rented. He might have the place rented before you've moved out. You're packing. You're all the things that you have to do leading up to it. It's really stressful. One of the 3 most stressful things we do in life is we get married, we have babies, and we buy houses. And you think everything's going along just fine, and then all of a sudden, bam! Sorry, you're not closing, right? 2 days before closing. I'd say that's pretty traumatic. And that's where we came up with the idea for the Mortgage Trauma Center. So on this page, we're going to tell you more about how we do things, why we do things the way that we do them. Educate yourself so that you understand what this is about. But just know this. I only hire loan officers to work at our company that know how to do loans. Anyone can get a license. It's not that complicated. But knowing how to do loans and knowing your guidelines is the trick. Every one of the loan officers who work here are highly trained professionals. They spend hours on a weekly basis reviewing Fannie Mae guidelines, Freddie Mac guidelines, Ginnie Mae guidelines, all of the investors that we can sell loan with, FHA, VA, conventional, all the jumbo investors, the bond programs. I require it. It's not an option. You can't work here and tell a customer they're getting a loan and be wrong, because why the hell would they use you if that's what you did? That's my stance on this. So study this page. Let me know if you have any questions. I appreciate the opportunity to serve you. I hope you never need us, but if you do, we're here and we'd be happy to assist you. One way to never need us in the trauma center is to just dial us up and use us first. Thanks for listening, everybody.